Hi, I'm Carrie, and welcome to my new channel called So Darn Fun, which is an offshoot of my private sewing and alterations business called Rochester Sewing Studio. So let me introduce to you who I am and what I hope to do in this channel. First of all, I, like a lot of you, have been sewing since I was a kid. I think I started when I was 10 years old with a length of fabric that my great-grandmother brought from Hawaii. And I can remember being in 5th grade and making that lovely red flowered maxi dress that was so popular at the time. I remember it being a lot of fun and fulfilling, and that was just the very beginning. I can't say that I sewed all the time, but probably for the last 40 years, I've sewed consistently all the time. 12 years ago, I had the opportunity to work for a lady who had a storefront shop that was alterations. And so I worked for her for several years and learned a lot of stuff about alterations in ready-to-wear garments, particularly formals and bridals. That was very educational for me. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I didn't think that I would like doing anything other than making patterns from the ground up, which is what I had done before. But I was surprised to find out how interesting it was to get into a ready-made garment and find out how the factories put it together and to be able to replicate that and to fix whatever the fitting issues were for the client who came in. After my boss decided to retire, I was so in love with doing what I did that I decided to go ahead and open up my own studio, which is what I do right now. I do it part-time. I run it out of my home in a very large space that I've been blessed to have. And I have interesting projects that come to me, I have to tell you that. I do the very basic sewing buttons. Yeah, there's people who don't sew buttons on. So if you don't know how to sew on a button, let me know. I can show you. I mean, there's not always just one right way to do something. There's a lot of ways to do things that are completely acceptable, aside from maybe pattern making rules. I get the simple jean patches, jean hems, a lot of that, taking in side seams, taking in the waist of pants, which is, I just have to caveat right now, is different than if you're making pants from the ground up. There's sort of a different process that you do. But I also get into the very, very complicated, like the bridal, formals, all kinds of bridal alterations, but usually it's taking in or letting out or putting in the corset lace-up, the loops and laces. I also do cosplay. I have showcased one of my creations back here, which is a copycat dress from a popular TV show that you might recognize. And that was a cosplay dress, very, very complicated to figure out. There is no pattern for that. That was something that I came up with, and it is on permanent display here, which I'm so glad that it is because the fabric is so beautiful. One of my clients is a best-selling Amazon author by the name of Octavia Randolph, and she writes historical fiction set in the 9th century in the area of Sweden, Denmark, what is now England. And this lady does her research. She is spot on in the details that she puts in her novels, and they are incredible. She has hired me to make several costumes, and so I am very, very blessed enough to be able to have this wonderful, wonderful client, plus that I'm nearly a body double for her, and she lives in Sweden, and so we have to do this long distance, and so it's challenging and fun to come up with styles that are authentic, that we know of, to that time period, and to be able to do this for her. So that's one of my other clients. It's a lot of fun. I am in the middle of making one right now, and I hope to take you on the journey with me as I create the patterns for the new dress. So that's something you can look forward to. One of the things that I will say right now I won't cover is men's suits. I do not get joy working in men's suit. It is not so darn fun for me. I just don't love it. I can take up the hems, take in some of the waist, but when it gets into a suit being too wide, the shoulders, I don't even want to touch it. There's just so much that goes into that. If there's a suit that's built too wide, it's hard to take it in so that it fits correctly. So that's just something I do not like at all. You're not going to find any of that stuff here. I will hope to do pattern reviews. There's lots of great patterns out there, especially in the indie market. I want to do some of those. Hacks. I love hacks because why buy a new pattern if you can just change one you already have? So I've already done that. Sometimes I hybrid patterns, take a piece off of this one and use this one, just make minor changes and put them together. And that's what I hope to do. I also want to showcase my alterations methods. Not every seamstress will do everything the same way. And like I already mentioned, there's not a right or wrong necessarily, but just different ways of doing it. So I'll show what I do, ways I feel comfortable doing it, things that I think make a garment look as close to possible as not touched in most cases, especially with wedding dresses. You don't really want it to look like. I'm hoping to show construction methods of garments that are not horribly time consuming. I don't like to do hand basting to get everything so accurate that nobody's even going to notice except yourself. And if that matters, then fine, go ahead and do hand basting. I don't like a lot of pinning. Some pinning, yeah, but not so that you're pinning every inch. To me, that's time consuming. I don't have that time. And I know that a lot of you don't. And you want to get a garment done within a reasonable amount of time without having to gruel over some of these things that might not matter in the long run. I'm excited about this. I hope that if you want to know something, that you will leave me a comment. Ask me if you want me to cover something. Maybe I can cover it for you. If you have any questions, please ask. I hope that you're as excited as I am and that you'll be able to learn something from me and that I'll be able to learn something from you. I never want to be where I think that I am too old to learn something new. I don't want to be old and crabby and that I know it all. Not me. If you have an idea that you think I haven't considered, let me know. There's a lot of wonderful ideas, a lot of wonderful people out there. And so if this can be a back and forth exchange, that'd be awesome. Please join me. I'm excited and I look forward to seeing you in my future videos. Let's get down to it. Thank you.